Hello there, and welcome back to Car Mechanic Simulator 2014. Last time we were in, we weren't in it. We were fixing this yellow Spectre for the guy who likes to show off. His tyres were fine, so he's not burning that much rubber, but still, fixed him. Let's see who's next. Okay, next through the door. Invoice 52 is for someone whose boss told them to come here with the company car for major maintenance, but I haven't been told what needs to be fixed. It has to be in perfect condition and the firm will pay. Firms have... company cars have maintenance... whatever. Replace or repair all damaged parts. Good grief. Alright. Paying big for it, $7.5 grand. Hope that's enough money to fix everything that's broken, because one assumes that it's shafted. Of course he doesn't know what's wrong with it. Well, I see an axle, which is a bit F. Let's have a look at these Sparky Pluggo. He looks fine. Double check, it's 95%. You can go back in your hole. The rest all look fine too. Well, they would if I could, manoeuvre the camera to actually look in the bloody hole. Yeah, it seems fine. Okay. Yeah, so all of the engine looks pretty fine. But these bits look a bit knackered, so look at the wheels. Wheelie, wheelie, wheel. It's wheelie wheel. No. Bizarrely, putting it into assemble mode, then clicking on the tyre means it goes into disassemble mode. Who knows? Right, so your outer tyre rod. For your outer tyre rod, mate, it looks a bit knackered. 13, you say? Good. So that has to be taken up underneath. This looks okay. Let's just check. 95%. You can keep that. That's yours. However, I think I'll be taking this and your suspension. There's a kind of... Alright, so that needs to be taken off from underneath. It looks like the opposite of these is a bit shafted. This one looks fine, but I'll have a quick unscrew of it just to make sure. It's fairly easy to take off. 95%, yeah, okay, let's whack that back in. No, not you, but you. Yeah, you. No, you. What the Huffingtons? Put that back in. Good grief. Right, okay, so let's check round to the side of the car. So it's in assemble mode, right? Can't do anything. If I click, go into assemble mode. Oh, it goes into disassemble. Is that just a toggle? Has it taken me all these many hours to work out that's a toggle? Oh, I don't know. It's dissatisfying, whatever it is. Oh, I forgot to check the brakes. They don't look great. Let's have a proper look. There's a kind of brake. Oh, no, they're fine. Look, see me know what my brakes look like. Visual inspection of brakes. No, can't do that. I've not a clue. Not a clue. Right, so back to disassemble mode. Oh, I'd like to take that off. Can I just unscrew it from here? Yeah, I don't know why I ever felt I had to go and look at the bolt. So that's that removed. This suspension arm seems fine at first glance. Alright, looking at the rear. Before I take anything off. Suspension looks a bit knackered, but I don't believe I have to take the wheel off for that stuff. And this, for instance. So let's raise it up and have a look. Alright, so It's a bit weird how it's so, you know, one side of this is knackered and one side of that's knackered. You kind of think these things are get knackered in vaguely in unison. And I'm not saying that they should be exactly the same on the left and the right, the suspension, but you'd kind of assume that they'd be similar. I don't know. Maybe that's just a false doodad, but 13%. You know, doodad. Is that a technical term? Oh yeah, this one has the bolt right down at the bottom. There we go. So that looks like most of what's wrong with, you know, what's obviously wrong with the car. Fuel filter looks fine, and what have you. So let's see. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, I was saying it was. No. Bah. Right. Briefly taken over by a yawn. Okay, we can repair the suspension arm rear. Yes, we'll repair that. Thank you very much. Let's put that straight back on. Or maybe we have to have taken that other piece, put that other piece on first. Oh yeah, we do. Okay, let's not do that yet. So we need a rear spring and oh dear, I'm not even sure if they're in rear. So it's a suspension spring anyway, I assume. Suspension spring rear. Yes, please, one of those. Thank you very much. Alright. Oh, hang on a minute. Bloody catalytic converter's knackered too. Grumble, mutter, mutter, grumble. Right, okay, so let's put these pieces back on. Oh look, I already had a fixed one. I'm never going to use it, am I? Because I'm always going to think of fixing the one I've got or replacing it before I check to see if I've got a spare. So I also need whatever that is. Shock absorber rear. Let's get one of those. And then we can take off the exhaust. So, what do I call it? Shock something rear. Oh Christ. Shock absorber rear. Hurrah! Shock absorber rear. Alright. I do get used to the fact, but it's a bit alarming every now and again. We realise how low the frame rate appears to be on this game. I mean, it's not exactly pumping the voxels or, you know, some graphical term that means what I'm talking about. Right. Yep. And that's you attached. Okay, so I need to get to the catalytic oh, I've come all the way out. Catalytic converter. Good. Yeah. No, remove. Oops. Oh yeah, it's just put me in assemble mode. Yeah, that's confusing. Interfaces. Will anyone ever design one that's actually intuitive for a majority of people? Is that even a thing you can do? Are people just too separately attuned to how their interfaces should work? Or, you know, if we have a coming together of, like, you know, we've had computers, so almost everyone knows what a mouse is now, whereas with touch screens and stuff, whether that'll have the same thing and we'll actually get somewhere with interfaces where we're not basically redesigning the flipping wheel every time we make a new thing that needs an interface. Grumble, grumble, interface, grumble. Right, catalytic converter. Oh, is it a V6? I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I've not really looked at the engine. Yes, it is a V6. Thanks for asking. So, okay, well that was 1400, and there's been a couple of grand's worth of parts, but nowhere near the 7 grand that they're. Oh, I did this before, didn't I? Can't get back to the catalytic converter from the back. Can I zoom out and get it here? No. Oh, let's put it on assemble mode at least. It's super frustrating. There we go. Click on the piece you want to connect it to. That helps move the camera a bit more. Alright. I didn't look at any of these other percentages, but they all look fine. Visual availability, 95%. That's fine. And the muffler middle. And I've put the suspension arm back on, so it should be okay to put these back on. I didn't check the suspension arm on the right. I assumed it would be okay. Assuming. That's never got anyone into trouble. Right. Okay, so I think that's the rear of the car back to its... Oh, no, that's the front. That's okay. I was going to say there's a bit I haven't removed, but no, I've forgotten it's the front bit that I was planning to remove, but hadn't got around to. So, God, would you accept my click? So I'm going to take out the bushing, I believe, to get this thing out. And that's in a healthy state. And a couple of bolts. Bolty. To get rid of that. Now let's just check the bushing over here. Bushing's fine. Alright, so we need to first of all check Vice. Hey Vice. Lovely. And then we need some rubber bushing. Rubber bushing. RS, that's how to do it. Rubber bushing. Okie dokie doke. Sploop. Bolt him back into place. Or indeed her. There's no reason it has to be male or female. It's just a pronoun. Okay, so... Oh yeah, I've got these bits up here to fix, haven't I? I forgot about those, but I can bring it back down. Bring it back down to you for those bits. And also to remind myself what they are. It's an outer tie rod and a something. That's right. So I need the outer tie rod and the sway bar. What's it called? Sway bar right, I assume. Yeah. So end tie rod, sway bar right, sway bar right, sway bar right, sway bar right. Sway bar end link right, and also an outer tie rod. Outer tie rod. Okie doke. So I'd come back to the point that I'd really like a list of how much I've spent on the car. It's not so much necessarily to see whether I've made a profit or anything, it's just out of interest, you know. Yeah, because some jobs are more profitable than others, and it's part of the narrative of the game, and I feel like I'm being penalised for not having a memory or for not writing it all down. And to be honest, the last time I really wrote stuff down in any detail for a game was probably in the bloody late 80s. Mapping Bard's Tale or something. I'll say late 80s or mid-80s more likely. Alright, okay, so I think with the wheels back on that were all the bits I took off. Whether that's all the bits that need fixing, there's a whole different kettle of ball games. Why can't I put the wheel on? I've obviously missed something. Ah yes, the axle, which I haven't fixed. Drive axle left. I'm guessing, I mean I know a small amount about cars, guessing that the drive axle, relatively useful. You know, there's parts you could get away with not having. I'm not thinking the drive axle was one of them. That was the left, wasn't it? Yeah. So this is a left-hand drive. Is that what I'm used to? Can't even remember. No, it's a right-hand drive I'm used to. So this is the offside, effectively, because it depends which way you drive. That's why people usually say left and right, I guess. Alright, using my newfound skill of bolting things through things, which I already had but wasn't using for axles, so I'm calling it newfound skill. It's a very shiny wheel. Right, so no more parts to assemble? No, because you know why, don't you? You know why. Everyone knows why. Everybody in the whole world knows why. Why? Oh no, there's no engine cover. Gasp shock. but I've still forgotten to put something back in the car. Quite exciting. Ooh, is it the rear no, I'm pretty sure I put all the rear suspension back together. Ah, look, it's the bloody leads, isn't it? Put it on assemble, that'll help. There we go, look. Whoops. Ah, now there is an engine cover, of course. So that was a bit of a clue as to what was missing. So is that everything? No more parts to assemble. Alright. But they're not happy with that. I haven't replaced or repaired all damaged parts. Well, shizbat. I say shizbat. It's a little bit like what Mork used to say on Mork and Mindy, and it's today, whilst I'm recording this anyway, not necessarily whilst you're watching this, but today when we learnt that Robin Williams had died, which was a sad day, because whatever you might think of him, he was fun in some stuff, and he was an excellent stand-up comedian back in the day. But he did have one of those manic personalities that you kind of assume was down to something, whether it be depression or some demon or other chasing him. But to hear that he was married relatively recently and seemed to have a happy lifestyle, you'd kind of hope that he'd be alright. But he's been in and out of rehab and, you know, the standard stuff that goes through people with addiction or addictive issues. So I feel for him, because you kind of hope at least that you get somewhere stable. You know, as you get older, you know, you're supposed to get better at life. That's not necessarily true, but you kind of assume that as you go through life, you're going to get better at it. But it's not what I'd report as being the case. That's for sure. I've not got any better or worse at it necessarily. It's just no easier. You have to excuse me because while I'm rabbiting on, I'm not taking a lot of notes of what I'm doing. So, which with this game doesn't necessarily bode well. Okay, these bits all look fine. I'm not really sure why I'm messing with these. Let's just check the cable. Yeah, that's fine. And the water pump. Whilst we're here, might as well check the I've checked the alternator already whilst I was talking. Water pump's fine. So yeah, and although I wasn't really as keen on his more recent work, you know, things like Bicentennial Man and stuff, I couldn't even bring myself to watch. You know, he was absolutely amazing in some of the stuff. You know, World of Garp, no one ever mentions that, but that was a great film. And, you know, Good Will Hunting, whatever you think about that, was a good film. And like I say, is you know, Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah, not so sure about Mrs. Doubtfire, but still, you know, good stuff. And he seemed like an annoying guy. You wouldn't want to necessarily live with him, but, you know, funny. So, yeah, Robin Williams. Rest in the peace. It's also been reported that he killed himself, which adds an extra pang to it. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but it can be hard for people to deal with. So hopefully he left enough information. You know, he'd spoken to his partner, or he'd written a letter or whatever, because I won't castigate anyone who commits suicide, like some people do seem to think it's some sort of cowardly act, but it is horrendous on the people left behind. We all know that, and so I'd hope that you would do as much as you could to alleviate that. Now, it can be difficult, because obviously if you're struggling, you don't want to commit suicide. You're struggling with depression, say. But it can just happen. It can overtake you, and you know, you won't necessarily have been preparing for a year and be all ready with notes and letters and explanations and videos and whatever the hell else. What is wrong with this car? Did I check the fuel filter and such when I was up? I'm pretty sure I did have a glance at it. Let's see if I can see it from this angle. It looks okay. Have I checked the air filter? Because seriously, how unlike me is it to have not checked the air filter? And if I have checked the air filter already, you might want to fast forward this bit. How often I feel like that in my actual life. I wish I could fast forward this. I'm sure I've done this already, but I have to do it again for whatever reason, and core lummy, it's frustrating. Yeah, sometimes you forget what it's like not to have a good memory. Yeah, feels fine. I always feel faintly annoyed because it's quite a lot of effort to get the air filter, considering. I've no idea what an airflow meter does. I mean, the old days when I used to fiddle about with a... Oh, not this again. There we go. I'd fiddle about with a car, and it was just a little box like this box. It didn't have all this... I mean, there might be tubes, maybe just like this tube that you just take off, but there wasn't another thing to bolt. Anyway. What else is wrong with this car? Did I check the starter motor and stuff? The trouble is when I start just rechecking stuff is I can be going around in circles, which, let's face it, nobody wants. Nobody needs, nobody wants. So this might be one where I have to check with my other mechanic buddies. Whenever I allude to anything like that, I'm basically going to go away, look at Google, and edit out the flat time where the computer sits here wondering where I am. Well, it could be something wrong with the gearbox, but I'd rather not have to take it all off, to be honest. It's a bit of a pain Donsley ass to get at it. But I am kind of struggling to wonder what else it might be. Oh, maybe I can... maybe this is the time for the OP... It's the clutching at straws, this is. But they did bother to animate it, look, I can move it. Oh yeah. So I wonder if it... I mean, it says checking errors are done, like it had finished something, but it's never obvious whether anything's actually happened or not. Did that make a difference to the tick? No, we still don't have a tick. Well, I could change the oil anyway. That's something that has to be done, so... let's go and get my little oil catcher. Magnetic oil catcher, and place you there. And I want to be... oh, I have to actually attach before I can change my mode. I want to be in disassemble, and I want to find the little bloody thing that caught me out all those episodes ago. Again, that was another Google jobber. Alright, there you go. Fall into my pan, please. Oh yeah. So then that's that done. It's a weird amount of extra faffing about to get the oil out compared to other things, it feels, but I don't know, maybe that's an accurate simulation of oh no, I can't put oil in like that. An accurate simulation of removing oil. Maybe it is simply that much fun. Right, so oil. Where's the oil hole? There's the oil hole. Yeah, pour the oil in. Glub 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 glub. Alright. Check it. Oh, a little bit more. A little bit more. Just a wee dram. Blub 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 blub. Really should only be putting a little bit at a time and checking it constantly, but I'm much too lazy for that. Right, okay, so I know that hasn't changed anything on the fix-it front, but I guess that has just ticked to change oil. Wasn't the wheels or anything, was it? A wheel worn out? I should check, I guess. Ha! Flippin' ha! Something so obvious as the wheel I didn't notice needed fixing. What about these brake pads? These look alright actually. Yeah. Okay, so one wheel required. Let's check the other wheel. Because they look really shiny. Because, you know, you see an actual knackered wheel and, you know, crikey, I wouldn't want to drive that kind of attitude. You know, not looks perfectly fine until you take it off and realise that it's made out of cardboard. Yeah, that one's fine as well. Yeah, they look fine. Visual inspection says, yeah, I'm sure I'll be fine. So, I mean, I'm changing the wheel, I suppose, rather than the tyre, I guess. I'm not quite sure what the analogy is. But, tyre-wise, you'd want to change pairs at a time, really. So, what sort of wheel is this? Where's my cursor? Oh, I should sell all this crap as well. Don't remember taking a suspension spring off. I'm sure that's fine. And crikey, don't sell the plastic engine cover by accident. So it's a Skio LX 500 wheel. Skio LX 500 wheel. I wonder if it only sells me the right wheels when I'm here. Skio... No, there are all sorts of different vehicles. $2,000 for a wheel. Wow, okay, that's where most of the money goes. Alright. Oh, I didn't put the caliper back on, look. Caliper. Alright, the wheels on the SEO go round and round, except for this one that was broken. Round and round, except for this one that's broken. Round and round, except for this one that's broken. Yes, that's why I don't sing professionally. Or indeed in front of people who've got ears. Right, no parts to assemble. Hood down, step away like you think you know what you're doing, check the invoice, you don't know what you're doing. Alright, I'm just going to stand and look at it for a while and edit this bit, but actually I'm just emailing some friends on my mechanic forum, and I'm going to ask them what in the blazes they think they're doing. Okay, I'm back from my emailing, and one of my garage buddies, what am I talking about? Mechanic buddies, says that if I've done something with the rear right wheel, have I checked the bushes? Now he knows me, and he knows full well that he was actually asking a rhetorical question, because no, obviously I haven't checked the bushes. Bang my head. Because bushes, man, seriously. I mean, apart from the fun in the joking, I never remember the damn things. And where are the bushes in this setup even? Oh, I remember, at the end of this long suspension arm that you can't really see very easily. Alright, there we go. There's one knackered looking bushing. Knackered enough to be at 1%. So it hasn't actually fallen apart. Oops. Let's just double check the other bushing. Nice and shiny, look. Nice and shiny. Pop it back in. Okay, so what a surprise. Hopefully it's just the bushing. I mean, you know, obviously one of the most expensive parts on a car, but not that that has anything to do with anything. Bushing to the left. Should have reversed the camera controls right at the start, but now I'm faintly used to them. Okay, so there we go. I can't believe it. Just one single bushing. Okay, well, just quickly, that's right, rub off all the oily handprints. Job done. Well, that was a bit of a long one for the recent things, but then they didn't know what was wrong with it. So thank you very much for watching. I kind of feel guilty that I had to go and check what was wrong, but then, you know, I could sit here for another hour and a half and I have to edit all that out, so I might as well just check on Google. So there you go. Thanks again for watching. Come back next time when we will continue with the excitement. No, you didn't miss the excitement. There wasn't any. Alright, thank you, bye.